All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of Business from A to EZ. This is your host, Zach. We're going to do another interview today. I'm really looking forward to it. Today, we've got SteveO the Window Cleaner. But before we get to him, I want to go through our sponsor. If you've been a part of the show or been around the show, I'm going to cover my face here real quick. Kaffa Bunn Roastery. I want you to go check them out. Order your coffee. Go to Facebook or kaffabunnroastery.com and get some coffee. They are the best. You know about the Spivies. Go check them out. They work as a family on this and just do great work. So they have different things you can buy, a lot of different flavors. You can get a subscription. If you want to use the promo code BIZA to EZ, I'll pop it up on the YouTube screen, BIZA to EZ. You can get free shipping on any orders over $30. So I encourage you to go check them out. And order some coffee. They're the best, and we try to keep them busy. So go check them out if you're a coffee drinker. Well, like I said, today we're gonna have SteveO the Window Cleaner on the episode, and I'm really looking forward to talking with him. SteveO, welcome to the episode. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me. Excited.
So when we were talking about interviews, I was kind of had some people in mind, and you were one of the first to come to mind because I'm a window cleaner. Tucker was a window cleaner, and you do a bunch of videos that were a big help, especially when I was getting started. So I appreciate you coming on.
Oh yeah, no, very happy to come on.
How long have you been cleaning windows?
Oh, so I have been cleaning windows since 2008 in college. That's when I first started. I took a little bit of a break when I graduated, and then really in about 2012 was the year where I was doing it full time, 5 to 6 days a week.
That's awesome. So I started in 2017, so quite a bit, about 5 years before. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you start out on your own business, or you started out with another company?
No, so yeah, I started off in college when I learned residential window cleaning. I was basically working for a college ran company. It was ran by a couple college guys. And so in the summertime, we would pretty much just do homes all summer. And then during the school year, we would pretty much, get done with classes, go clean a home maybe. And so I was always an employee with them, never any ownership there. And then in 2012, when I actually worked for Fish Window Cleaning. And so I'd become a manager there by the end, and then kind of branched off from them. I know I'm jumping ahead, but just going through that real quickly. And then branched over to another smaller window cleaning company where I eventually became a co-owner there.
Okay. So it's so funny because once you get into the window cleaning world and you get into like the pro window cleaning page and all that kind of stuff, it can be brutal.
Yes.
But also pretty hilarious. It's funny because every winter, I feel like it gets really crazy, and then people get busy in the spring, and it kind of dies down a little bit. But you are in Denver, is that right?
Yeah, I am north of Denver, so I'm very, very close to. If anybody knows Fort Collins, that's kind of a town that people know. I'm just a little bit south of there.
Okay, yeah, I've got friends in Fort Collins.
Yeah.
So what do you do in the winter whenever it gets cold?
So actually, during the winter from 2012 through pretty much this last year, I was always working full-time window cleaning. The big thing that really kept me busy always during the winter was route work. That was how we kept our winters. And we also had just a lot of commercial work. So, residential in Colorado would very much die down, but I never had to get like a different part-time job during the winter. I just always kept busy with route work.
We did the same thing. So when we started, I wanted, for me personally, I started almost all commercial. And so I wanted to get to about $5,000 commercial and then get into residential. That way I just always had $5,000 a month.
Right.
That was there. And that would just cover the basics. But then as we grew, it kind of changed. So having more employees, you kind of have to figure that stuff out. So we've added some things over the years. When you were working with, so the company, you said you're co-owners now, or are you solo?
No. So at the end of 2020, we parted ways. It was a very mutual good thing that happened. And that, during that same time in 2020, it was when I also started doing equipment sales for WCR. And that was just due to that, the whole YouTube thing, you'd get asked about, equipment. And I just finally got to a point where I was like, hey, if I can start kind of doing this and, order for people, that would be really great as far as just some compensation for like what I'm doing. Um, and then, so I became a co-owner with Jim at 2020 Window Cleaning in about like 2018. But then in 2021, I branched off and created my own company as far as that goes. But very quickly, 6 months into that, got a bigger position with WCR because I thought, as of like right now, this day, that I would still be full time in the field. I really
Hmm.
never envisioned like just doing window and cleaning equipment sales, to be
Right.
quite honest with you. So yeah, that was kind of like the path as far as what I did.
Are you still out cleaning right now, or is it?
Nope.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I'm pretty much out of the field, and that's partially just due to that Monday through Friday now. I've gotten busy enough with sales where I really have to be in my office, kind of ready for calls, ready to get orders in for people. And
Right.
there's a lot of customer service that goes along with it. Just like any industry, any kind of equipment, issues come up in the field. So as you also sell these people the equipment, you also got to be available for the issues and be able to kind of
Right.
handle them. And we see the issues. To us, it seems like a lot bigger, but really, in the grand scheme of things, it's very small. But, when someone calls us, we've usually seen that issue before, so we can take
Right.
care of it pretty quick.
Right. So, where can people, if they want to order from WCR, what can they do to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can always just email me at stevo at windowcleaningresource.com, or you can also text and call me at 970-599-1437. I do have like a lot of social medias and a lot of people message me through there, but my email, my phone number is the best way to get a hold of me.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you talked about YouTube. I've got you here. It's at SteveO the Window Cleaner.
Yes.
Um, what made you want to get into YouTube?
Yeah, so YouTube was a fun thing. So actually, in when I lived in California, I worked at YouTube headquarters.
Oh
And so
wow.
I was only a security guard, but that's kind of what like opened my eyes to YouTube.
Yeah.
And so it was just really cool being there and just seeing the interactions and seeing how big that company was becoming. So when I came back to Colorado, and it was only a short while after I left California and came back, I was doing window cleaning, storefront window cleaning pretty much. And I just started randomly uploading videos to YouTube. And the thing was, is that like me and my brothers growing up, we really enjoyed like movie editing. We would do like editing with Legos and
Right.
toys and different stuff like that, especially my older brothers. I mean, they were always just, doing like the Wallace and Gromit videos, like one movement at a time. And then it would just all kind of come together in a video. So honestly, more what it was I really enjoyed video editing. I wasn't great at it, but I just enjoyed it as like a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
So window cleaning kind of became my subject that I did. And as that grew over time, in about 2016, 2017 is when me or Luke the window cleaner and I really started to interact a lot more as like friends. And so in about 2017, I'd have to say it was, he asked me to come be part of a group, and there's about 5 of us who were creating like regular content for WCR's YouTube channel. And it was just kind of a fun thing to do. And that's when I really started pushing like a lot more content out there. And part of what it was, I was at the beginning do like a lot of montages of work to like music. And it was the same music that I was listening to at work. Like I was so big about, trying to find a new album or a new soundtrack every day that I worked. And that's how I enjoyed, the job partially. And then over time, as people started asking more about like, how do you do this? How do you do that? I just started making how-to videos, and it just kind of snowballed into this a lot bigger thing than I ever thought it would be. And I've really, really enjoyed it as far as that goes. And I do a little bit less now with it because I kind of felt like it got to a point where how much stuff can you share about window cleaning, But
Right.
that's how I got into it. I still very, very much enjoy it. I'm very, very appreciative of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think that, back in 2010, or 2012, you would have never thought about YouTube being able to be a revenue source that could also move you into so many other things. So I'm
Right.
extremely appreciative to it. I mean, I can't really think of something that I use more than YouTube. I mean, YouTube Music, YouTube TV. I mean, it's crazy how much that all has grown.
Yeah, it's awesome. So when I started in 2017, Luke, I found him first, and so I was watching a bunch of his videos because I didn't know what a BOAB was, and I was like, "What
Yeah.
is a BOAB?" I'm sitting here going, I don't know what that is," and so I figured it out, and he'd go through all the different buckets on a belt, and then it was like, okay, so if somebody's doing what I'm, if I need to change something on my car, I'm going to YouTube.
Right.
So I found those people, and then like you said about 2017, that's when I really started finding your videos, and then of course Luke started pulling away, and then you just really blew up at that point, and so that I think a lot of people just kind of jumped from Luke to what you were doing, and you kind of picked up where he left off, and
Yeah.
it was awesome. So
Yeah. Very appreciative of Luke as well.
yeah, he's great, and I think still staying busy up there in Kansas City or whatever.
Oh yeah, I get to talk to him quite a bit, and yeah, business is going great. I mean, him and his wife are a great duo, and they do great with window cleaning. Especially, they're huge, storefront window cleaners. So
Right.
that's a big thing that they're into.
Yeah, it's cool. At first when I started cleaning windows, I was like, how is this something that can actually sustain life? Do you ever kind of run through those
Oh
types of
yeah,
thoughts? It's like it's kind of a luxury. It's not really a need or necessity.
oh yeah.
Um, so has YouTube? I know you're kind of working more full time now at WCR, but has YouTube kind of been, or was YouTube something that was going to kind of bridge the gap if Windows kind of fell through? At least there's the entertainment factor.
No, I never kind of really relied on YouTube at all. It was just kind of
Okay.
like this side thing that I just did, as far as that goes. And it really was like I never expected to make any money off of it. I did never thought it would grow to what it's grown to. I had no goals with it as far as that goes. And that might sound kind of weird, but I had more goals of in 2019, I really maneuvered into, before that, I would spend a lot of time doing things that kind of didn't matter. And one of those big things that I like changed in my life, and it might sound kind of crazy, was that I was always at the gym lifting and always trying to do that. And I was always trying to get off work to do that kind of stuff. In 2019, I really like reorganized my thought process on all this and really put more oriented towards the window cleaning business. And during that time, it was very easy to film and have content because I was regularly out in the field. But what we were really doing was really pushing with the window cleaning as far as me and the other owner, Jim. And we were getting into really long days of work, but we both really enjoyed it. So I more never felt like the window cleaning would really ever drop out and that I'd have to have like YouTube as kind of a backup just because you're not going to make much off YouTube. I mean,
Right.
that's the thing. It's really is pennies. I mean, in the amount of time that I have done work on there in 1 month, as far as what I get for monetization, is what a window cleaner by himself can do in a single day.
Right.
So, there's not much there as far as that goes.
Do you think that a lot of people kind of fizzle out on YouTube because of the amount of work it takes to put videos up?
Yeah,
Or
burnout
yeah.
is a real thing on YouTube, and it's just due to that. One, you're filming, let's say, anybody that's doing it at a job like window cleaning. So during the day, not only are you looking at a set of windows and saying, "Hey, what squeegee should I use? What washer sleeve should I use?" You're also saying, "What's a good camera view for this or that? What's a
Right.
good clamp to put on my pole and do these things?" And then you also feel kind of foolish at the same time. Like if I'm
Right.
wearing like a GoPro on my head and I see someone coming, turn off, pull away, like
Right.
I don't really want them to know that. So that was always the thing of that, it takes away from your day. Your day gets a little longer. Luckily, when I was owning the company with my partner, we were always still having really good, efficient days. I was very big on that. Like I wouldn't let it, impact my work. But what it was doing later on was impacting my stress level as far as that. And then you go home, you try to edit videos and put them together. It wasn't like you were editing every night, but it did become to a point where it wasn't so much more of the fun part or the hobby of uploading. It was, I got to make sure to put content up because people expect it. And as
Right.
it becomes an expectation, it becomes a little bit less of a thing that you want to do. And then, as we've seen in the community, they're pushing and pushing and pushing, doing videos all the time. And then all of a sudden it just stops. And that's just that burnout factor, or it's, other things are taking precedence. And like I was talking about with the YouTube revenue, it's not great. And it's also that this is a small niche, window cleaning is. You're not going to get the outreach that you could do with the pressure washing channel. You see some of these pressure
Mm-hmm.
washing channels, they'll have 500,000 subscribers. It's just such a bigger community than what ours is.
Right.
So I do think what a lot happens is just people get into it so hard and try to create a schedule around it. And also it's just not very rewarding on the back end. And probably one of the biggest things that comes out of it is that, you do get some folks that if you've shared this amount of content, all of a sudden they expect you to do, oriented content right towards what they want. And it's like, well, I've put this out, you can watch this. Well, I don't want to watch it. I want to talk to you about it. Okay. So now it starts taking up a little bit more of your time, right? So that's where it kind of maneuvered for me into let me start doing equipment sales and kind of get this going a little bit.
Right. That's kind of what I was gonna ask about next. Is once you get that, I mean, we're a very small world, window cleaning in particular, but once you reach the heights that you've reached, even on YouTube, I looked it up before. 500 videos, just under 500 videos, for 44,000 subscribers. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big deal for window cleaning. But once you get into that celebrity status, is that, do you feel like that many people pulling at you? Is there always like, hey man, what's up? Or hey, like, let's hop on Xbox. I want to be your friend.
Right.
What's
Yeah.
what's that
Yeah.
like?
It is a lot. And, one of the things that I'm huge on is keeping that very personable element to it. So I haven't gone out and had like an answering service message my calls or answer my calls, or I don't have someone else watching my emails. I do it all on my own just because I want the authenticity there of
Right.
that, if you're going to reach out to me, I'm going to be the one that gives you the answer. And so that is a very big thing for me. But, that's partially why I don't clean windows in the field anymore, is that once you do take on the initiative of, I'm also going to sell you your equipment, then it also becomes, okay, I should be open to either being a sounding board for somebody as far as if they want to just bounce ideas off of me for like a quote or something like that. So, I would say definitely that it pulls at your time, but now I've gotten to the position where I've been very, very used to it, and now have the position with WCR sales where I can really, that's my main thing now. That's really what I'm doing. I'm not a coach. I'm not a business coach. I don't want to be a
Right.
business coach, but I'm very, very happy to just be a sounding board and to share my experiences, and hopefully that helps someone else in the field.
Yeah. Did you ever run into that too? From like, you start uploading videos, you start getting the views, and then people think you know everything about everything in window cleaning, and it's like,
Yeah.
now you're almost an authority on it, and there's weight that comes along with that too.
Yes.
What was that
Yes.
like?
That was maybe the hardest thing to kind of understand. Not that it was hard emotionally or anything like that, but I even have some videos where I did a video once where a guy from Australia who was doing video editing for WCR, he was coming out to the huge convention, and he came out and stayed with me for a bit. And we were doing this video and we were talking in the car. And I said, one of the biggest things about this is that why aren't some of you all reaching out to some of these other huge companies? And if you're really wanting to grow your business, you're watching me be in the field as an owner operator. That's not the goal for a lot of guys. And so it's just difference of what you want to do. And so I've always thought that, and Luke and I have always said that. Why aren't some of these guys trying to reach out to some of these bigger companies? Because exactly like you said, all of a sudden it's your word is what should be correct. Now it didn't work for somebody in the field, and now you're to blame.
Right.
And I don't take it personal at all. But I mean, it definitely happens. It's very rare that that happens, that someone will ever blame me for something like that. But it does happen on occasion. But I mean, I take it all in strides as far as that, everyone's learning. Everybody's going to come in contact with situations that are weird and think about it different. And that's the thing with window cleaning. It's so much based on each person's experience. Like you could talk to 10 people and 10 people would tell you a different squeegee that they like to use.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so we were talking a little bit before. I've helped a couple of people start, and they'll ask like fanning or straight pulls or whatever. And it's like, I know guys who have cleaned longer than I have who still straight pull, and it's just what they do. So I don't know that there's a right or wrong. I think it's just, you got to figure it out for you. And what your goal is for business.
Yes.
I think a lot of people, they don't think about that. I don't think they consider what do you want your business to be. I think they just take it as it comes, or never say no to a job or anything like that.
Yeah.
But there's jobs that you have to say no to because they don't fit your business model. And if you don't have a business model, then you're going to be in trouble.
Yes.
So when you've worked for somebody and you've worked on your own, what are pros and cons of both?
Oh man, the pros of working for somebody is you don't have to take work home.
Yeah.
Like you get to leave the squeegees in the truck and you get to totally disconnect
Mm-hmm.
and just like enjoy your evenings or enjoy your weekends. The moment you become an owner, you know that at the end of the day, you're either going home and doing all the billing, or you're on your way home doing a lot of bids in person. We used to do that a lot. And so it just always feels like it's kind of just, it's always there. It's very hard to turn off. And I do have that type of personality where it's very hard to turn that off. Like I'm always kind of like, what's next? What could I be doing with my time to help kind of further this more? But I would say that, it is, remind me of the question one more time.
Pros and cons of working solo and working for somebody else.
Yes. So I would say that, working for somebody else, though, one of the biggest cons is that being a person that wanted to be a business owner, I wasn't in control of the quotes and the bids. And so I was out there working, spending time saying, what happened here? Why wasn't this quote like correct? And when I was an employee, I was off commission. So when you're doing off commission and you're looking at these jobs and you're saying, oh my gosh, the job was $30. I was here for an hour. That little amount that I just made is crazy.
Right.
So I think this is what a lot of window cleaners figure out very quickly. And it's unfortunate for owners is that I could probably go do this, right? And little do they know it's the business part that they really have to know. It's not the window cleaning part. The window cleaning
Right.
part's simple. The business part behind it all is going to be the hardest part for them to learn. So, I mean, looking all of it in a grand picture, I would, of course, by now, I would never go back to being an employee whatsoever for window cleaning, no matter if I'm 75 years old and don't have anything to do. I'm not doing it just because I know the business model now. But, I would say to anybody out there, I wish I would have started my own window cleaning business a lot younger. We're seeing this trend right now with teenagers, a lot of people in college starting window cleaning businesses. Now, the legitimacy of the business, it could be whatever, right? It could just be their, cleaning windows in their neighborhood, which I kind of hope, which is really great. They're getting out there, they're not playing video games all day. It's awesome.
Right.
Literally in the last year and a half, I've talked probably to the same amount of teenagers and college students as I've talked to middle-aged, men, women from, anywhere from, 25 to 35 to 45. So it's crazy. It's kind of taking this like weird kind of turn, but they're all just being owners. So if I was to go back, I would just say that one of the big things that I would do is I would have just became a business owner sooner in window cleaning. But I also didn't really know the possibilities of it. We were kind of talking about this before, and I'm sorry to kind of jump
No,
around.
you're good.
But the huge convention or any convention that you could go to, as far as with a bunch of window cleaners, networking and figuring out, wow, like there were bigger companies in my area I did not know about that were way bigger than us. And that opened my eyes to, oh wow, like this could be a huge thing, and then also meeting people like Luke, meeting people who were open about what they were doing really, really helped, open my eyes to what this business could be.
Yeah, I think you hit on something there that's super interesting and something I struggled with when I started. Um, for me, competition was the enemy,
Yeah.
and it was I've just got to win, because I've got that personality of I want to go get everything and be the best and all this kind of stuff. And so when I saw the competitor's truck, I'd be like, oh, there they are or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
or I did a bid there and they're cleaning it. Ah, man, that stinks. They got it, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's the way it was at first. But then I started to realize, actually, through the help of my brother-in-law, who's my business partner, he kind of helped me understand that there's more than enough work out here, and you don't have to act like that, you know.
Yeah.
So what's that been like with the networking, or what would you encourage somebody who's in business starting out with that fear mindset? Because I think it's really
Yeah.
just insecurity, honestly.
Yes.
What would you
Yeah.
tell them about their competitors?
Be kind to all of them. Network with them. If you have a job that is too big to take on, you don't have the time to take it on. Pass it to somebody like that. I would encourage making sure that they're legit. I
Right.
would say that, meeting up, even if it's something where you get together with a group of window cleaners on the weekend and go have pizza or like whatever, something like that. Because first time I met you, right? It was, or you meet any window cleaner, there's like this connection, like right away.
Right.
Your walls are down. You're just good to talk about whatever, right? So networking with your local window cleaners is so important. I think I have 25 to 30 contacts of local window cleaners, and we're
Mhm.
all friendly with each other. We all know each other. We all pass jobs to each other. The other day, a local window cleaner needed a water fed pole. Here's my 47-foot water fed pole. You want me to pay for it? No. Get the job done. Like let's be a good community about this. Of
Right.
course, you're always going to have the interesting ones around, but like it's been huge. Especially even being able to. I worked with a window cleaner down in a different town that we had a lot of work in, but they got this building over us. But he wanted to learn water fed pole. Why not go help him be a little bit safer and learn water fed pole? Helped him do that. I think it's a big thing. I love that you touched on it because I don't think it's touched on enough as far as the community and your local community, and that there's always going to be competition out there, and hopefully that competition doesn't go around to your jobs and try to steal your jobs. Once that happens, I could understand maybe trying to kind of block that person off as far as that goes,
Right.
and hopefully it doesn't happen. But usually, those people aren't going to be around very, very long in your area because the network that you're creating with window cleaners, you all are going to stay in business. It's been a huge thing as far as where I'm here in Colorado, that like we're all super friendly with each other. Um, I really haven't had any situation where I've ever been out on a job and had like another window cleaner say something nasty out the window. I mean,
Right.
even the large companies, they'll say hi, and it's great. I always loved, like, I'd come up to a window cleaner's job, start cleaning the windows with them. Like I just always loved meeting new window cleaners, as weird as it sounded, because it was that connection, just that connection that you already had. It was just, you didn't need an icebreaker at all.
Right. Right. It's weird, and I don't know if it's a personality type thing. It might be a personality thing, but like I said, my personality is win at all cost, and not at cheating anybody or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I'll not stop until I win. So I think being competitive, growing up playing sports, that's the other team. We're not friends with them.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
so it's kind of like a rivalry or that, but. I think the older I'm getting and the more I'm in it, it doesn't have to be like that. There's times where I've needed help. There's times where they've needed help, and
Yeah.
it does work out that way.
Yep. One of the things I'll touch on real quickly that I also learned more in the beginning of being a manager, or kind of, I trained a lot of techs or window cleaners, when I was first starting, and I was horrible. I thought that everyone had a fan. I thought that you had to do things a certain way. I was really, really bad about that, and had a lot of just bad conversations with people that I worked with that never ever needed to happen. I made a video, I think 5 years ago, where I talked about some of my biggest fails. And that was my number one fail, was that
Mm.
when I was working at Fish, I literally, and I'm so embarrassed to say it, had like a physical confrontation with someone over the person not fanning a window.
Mm.
And I look back at it now as like, why? Why did that ever? It never needed to happen.
Right.
As long as the window's clean, it's clean. Like what we were going to be able to do is going to be way better than what they were going to do with like Windex and paper towels. And so that was one of my biggest things that I learned, was that, not nobody has to clean windows the same you do. And that also just kind of comes down the line of kind of let down your competitiveness as far as with everything. And then it just creates this very, very nice caring network of people.
Yeah. So you've been around the window cleaning world for a long time, like working with fish, co-owner, solo, and all that kind of stuff. What we kind of alluded to it a minute ago, but what would you say to somebody who is looking at getting into window cleaning in particular, and the difference of maybe wanting to be a solopreneur forever or grow to 10 employees? What you got any advice for people who would just be starting out in that and trying to figure out which way they want to go?
Yeah, I would say that I would definitely push towards not being an owner operator and trying to really grow a company. And the reason I say that is because of the toll that it's going to take on your body over time, and that you're not going to be able to do the physical work all your whole entire life. Anyone that I've known that have done that, they have a lot of physical, like just knee joint issues, anything. So in saying that, like, I think the goal of, creating a business is to be able to at some point be able to have that business run pretty freely without a lot of you, not that you're not going to be a part of it, but being able to have, we say passive income, but I don't want to say that because you always want to be involved. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, that's going to be the thing that will really allow you to either grow into even other things, maybe other businesses. But I would really, really highly encourage somebody, if you're thinking of being a solo operator, owner operator, that's great. And if that's what makes you happy, I think that's totally fine. That's what I've done for the last like 4 years. But I've also had a whole nother, job. But if I ever was to go back to it and something was to happen like that, I would pretty much never go back to the field. I would only be, working with sales, trying to grow the company. And that's just because I've seen it happen the other way so many times where some of these owner operators work for 30 years. They get done. You are not going to sell a window cleaning business for a whole lot unless you're putting, money into retirement and being really, really smart about that. Unless you have multiple trucks, you almost have all of your routes under contracts. A
Mm-hmm.
residential list isn't worth a lot. I mean, that's the thing. Hopefully you get someone that values that, but the possibility of that is very, very small. So, one of the really good books out there is the Window Cleaning Blueprint, and that was written by Chris Lambrinides. And so one of the things he also talks about in there is getting those contracts, because contracts can be so important. And if you ever want to sell your business or grow your business, it's a really good way to do it. So to come back to the original question, though, like I would really push nowadays for people to really grow their business. And I think the biggest thing that really happens with it is how much are you going to put into it right away? Like, is it going to be something where, okay, I'm gonna create a business. I'm gonna kind of see what happens. I'm gonna kind of keep my options open, or are you just gonna fully indulge into it? Are you just gonna fully, get a vehicle, get your vehicle lettered up, make sure that's a billboard, and let every single person know about your business through every single outlet that you possibly can. I love it when I see people just go for it. One of the companies that I would have to highlight that I was lucky enough to get to speak to in the time that they first began is a company in Texas called Pink's Windows, and they just went for it. They just completely went for it. You guys have completely went for it as far as growing your company, and having multiple trucks. So it's kind of like, why not invest that? And that's the biggest thing that I see is that people say, I want to fully go for it. But then you talk to them 2 years later and they haven't got the website. They haven't got Google My Business. They haven't even got a Nextdoor. So then they ask you, hey, what can I do to get more customers? Well, are you doing every door direct mail? Are you doing 5 rounds when you get done? Are you doing all these things? No, I'm not doing those things. And it's like, well, if you
Yeah.
did all those things and you've really invested in 3 years, you could be having so much online marketing going and also be doing routine EDDM, basically making sure that you get work every single season. And then you also have your whole customer list, and it's just growing exponentially
Mm-hmm.
every single year.
Right. It's amazing once you get the ball rolling how much it because hopefully ideally you never lose a customer. I mean
Yeah.
that's so if you have that house you're gonna have it next year and the year after that and year after that. So that list just grows exponentially every year. So
Yeah.
it just takes effort and work and being smart. And honestly, we talked about that group Pro Window Cleaning and WCR. I have never. I'm a brand person. I love brands. I mean, we just got a
Yeah,
Bucky's,
we just
and
got one
so
too.
I I love it. And I just sat in the parking lot today going, how did they get a brand like that? What
Yeah,
did they do to make people go nuts? I mean, I've seen people come out of there with like 7 bags of stuff, and it's like
yeah,
that's like $300,
yep,
and it's a gas station. And so when I think of like Bucky's or like an Apple or something like that, in our circle, it's WCR. I mean, there's no question
right,
about it. And they have an unbelievable brand. And I think one of the coolest parts about it is how they have invested in their group and people.
yeah,
And that has just returned over and over and over. I mean, I watched a video today on Pro Window Cleaning that came across, and it was just some random guy doing a video sitting on a bucket cleaning.
right,
And he goes, at the end, he goes, go to WCR and buy all your stuff. And it was like, why did he say that? He didn't need to
right,
say that.
yep.
But they have created a culture that you get to now be a part of. What's that been like to step into a culture like that?
It's been amazing, and I'd have to give my biggest thanks to like to Chris and Alex and the Berninis. I have learned so much in the past 4 years of actually being able to do sales and interact with them. Um, they are the most giving people that I've ever met, and I still struggle to understand how they do it. To be quite honest with you, their business minds as far as how they look at things. When you mention something, they thought about it 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's already going, in motion. And also how much they've given back to the community as far as like on the website. And I'm not trying to just like sell things on the website, but like there's free forms and documents. You can go on there. You can get waiver forms. You can get scratch waivers. You can go on there. You can learn about fabrication debris. You can learn about hard water removal. I mean, we have an online chat that's almost like for the US, like 24/7, where you can go on there and you can actually interact with live people. I think that's one of the things that we hear the most is that when people call in, you're not talking to like an automated service or anything like that. You talk to real window cleaners who have been in the field, know the equipment, have used the equipment, which is just not something you can get. You can't even call Google My Business anymore and get a person on the phone.
Right.
So it's been awesome though, and that just seeing even how much they have grown through that time, and learning from them as far as one of the big things that happened was back in 2020 when COVID happened was that right away they started offering the free shipping on orders $49 and over. And that was really one of kind of the turning points of kind of that business. Like, yes, we've all kind of come together and really done a lot of marketing for them and put a lot of content out there, but they have really done a lot of the work to make this thing grow. And they're constantly coming out with new products. And the really thing that probably not a lot of people know, there's a lot of window cleaning products in that store that are made by window cleaners, as in they have created a product, they have allowed them to be in the store, and they're also making a little bit off of that on the side. So I think that's one of the coolest things, because I can't really see a lot of the bigger brands out there. Like if you brought not the distributors, but just the bigger brands that we know, if you brought to them, hey, I have this idea, this squeegee channel that's going to be really cool. The possibilities of a multi-billion-dollar company wanting to work with someone with a tiny idea that's a squeegee channel, which they've already known, we have our own. Why would we do that? It's probably not going to happen. But with them, it can. So that's the cool thing, is that there'll always be an open ear to anyone that has an idea inside the window cleaning community. So I could really go on and on about them as far as that goes. But I'll be honest that the best thing that's happened in my life because of it is that I knew people, as far as from YouTube, and I knew a little bit about them as far as the people I interacted with. But then when you become, their rep or the person that they call to ask questions, you get to know them on such a different level. And that's been the best thing, is just it's not like, and this is going to sound super corny, it's not like they're just like our customers. They really have like become like your friends. Like you don't just like put an order in for them. You sit on the phone for a little bit and you just talk about like whatever. You talk about family, you talk about what's going on in their life. And so sometimes we turn to therapists, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been really, really good and something I never thought. But you know, from the beginning, I always took a liking to the tools. I always found, you know, a liking in that. How can I make a new person who's training window cleaning? How can I make their job enjoyable by the equipment that they use? As far as that goes, I know it's not the most important thing, but when you're training a lot of window cleaners, to them at that moment, that's very, very important. That's what's making them have an easier day. And window cleaning can be very frustrating to learn at first, and then once you get it, it's kind of like, this is like really fun. So I always just took a liking to try to help people get into it as easy as possible.
Yeah, it it's cool to see you kind of jump in because when you've always been very similar in that wanting to help people, very kind. Um, but to see you jump in and then kind of become more of what they are, or maybe even add to who they are and make them even greater in that, it's stunning. Like I won a gunslinger 3 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was the coolest thing. Well, somebody broke into my car and stole it. They broke the window out of my car, and I don't know why they stole it, but they stole my belt and they took that.
Oh
And
man.
and they sent me another one. And
Right.
like that's just crazy. That's like I think when they first came out it was like $300 or something like that. I don't know if they still are, but it was like, and they just sent me another one because somebody stole it. And
Yeah.
it's little things like that that's just like, why they don't need to do that. You know,
Right.
they don't need to go above and beyond like that, but they do. And I think that's what people gravitate towards.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. I would definitely agree with that.
They and then like what you were saying, not so much therapist but friend, you know.
Yes.
I feel like we've texted several times and you've just checked in and like, how's things going, you know, things are going well. And
Yep.
it just it kind of helps you feel like you're a part of the community, and it is appreciated. So I appreciate that and what you guys
Yeah.
are doing over there at WCR. It's something special for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that it goes on for a very, very long time. And yeah, I'm very honored to be a part of it.
I think it's pretty neat. And honestly, the other thing too is we talked about insecurity earlier with like your competitors. I've even seen them and WCR talk about the other competitors that are just they'll say go check them out, or hey, we'll send some stuff over or whatever.
Yep.
And you when you see that, you kind of it, it, it kind of helps you understand that this world is bigger than just you and what you're trying to do. There's plenty of glass to go around for your competitors and you, but there's plenty of business as well. So
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
I was going to ask you about frustrations in
Uh,
window cleaning. What was one of the biggest frustrations just in window cleaning in general? And then I'll
I
ask about YouTube and then maybe WCR.
Yeah, frustrations in window cleaning would have to have been the thing that took me the longest was quoting.
Mm,
Quoting for me at the beginning, I was of a mindset of like, oh, well, okay, this should be this, but is she gonna think that's like a little too expensive? Should I just take it down a notch? Like, I want to make sure I get the job.
right.
I did that way too often. Or if a person was like super nice, oh, they're a nice person, we should probably give them like a little discount on this. Like, why did I do it? I don't know.
Right.
But I messed up a large amount of, even, I think construction bid quotes were always the hardest. And so that was always my most frustrating thing. Was I always walked away from construction cleans never really fulfilled and feeling great about what we made on it. Or even, you wake up in the middle of the night like, there was that one thing on that window I didn't get off, and being a little bit OCD about it. But I definitely say that like quoting was the number one frustration for me for a long time. And I feel like maybe that would be an answer for even quite a bit of window cleaners, as far as it's the biggest question that we get as far as sales reps, in that, what should I quote this job at? And, and it's even like, you maybe have helped them with 50 quotes, but here's a job that's completely different. than
Right.
what I've ever seen before. And so there's just so many variables that go with it. And I don't know if you wanted me just to talk specifically about like squeegee, wash your
No,
sink
no,
kind of
that's
stuff,
perfect.
but yeah, but that would have number one. It popped in my mind right away when you asked the question.
Yeah, mine was going to be bucket bobs, the guys who just show up out of nowhere, and it's like, oh my goodness. And you've had somebody for so long, and they're like, well, this guy said he'll do it for $8, and I'm at like 60. What are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
right.
Oh my goodness.
No, it happens all the
Yeah, it's
time.
incredibly frustrating. I think that
Yep.
was one of the biggest shifts for us to residential is you don't run into that as much.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Residential want somebody, especially if they're going to have them inside their home. You got to look a little bit clean and presentable.
right. Did you do majority outside only or inside and out for
Oh,
residential?
inside and out.
That's what we
I'm
are.
yeah, I'm huge on. If someone even asks for an outside bid, I always give them a quote for inside and out because I want to do inside and out because well, we all know outside only is super nice, right? Like you get through the
Right.
job, the customer has Windex the inside of the windows, the outside looks a lot better than the inside. But also doing inside, you get so much of a better interaction with the customer and you really get to ask them about them. And so
Hmm.
I never talked about me. I just asked them about them. And you would just get these customers rolling. And the whole time that you're going inside the house cleaning, they're talking to you. That's a forever customer,
Right.
after that. And so that was my always biggest thing. And I learned that from the guy I used to co-own the company with. The guy was everybody's friend when he went in, but also knew what he was doing in business.
Right.
And that was my biggest thing about doing inside and out. And you're giving the customer the best quality product. Two, it's a lot easier to take out screens. People always ask me, how do I take out screens if we're doing outside only? Well, go inside, try to remove
Go
them. Well,
inside.
I can't do that. I got to go ladder up to them. Well, that's why you do inside and out. Therefore, you never have to do that. So,
Right.
yeah, always inside and out.
Yeah. Yeah, we do that too. I've just noticed a lot of guys have started doing outside only for whatever reason, and I think it's like here, maybe about a year or two ago, window cleaning almost became a fad.
Yeah.
Where I think it was a couple people on TikTok or something came through and said, "I made $5,000 in 2 days, and here's how,"
Yep.
and so many people started trying to get started in it that it kind of did little shockwaves. Did you experience that at all in the industry?
I experienced the influx of that as far as, and what I was kind of talking about earlier is the younger generation. And that's exactly what they're doing is they're doing all outside onlys because they
Right.
do not want to go inside the homes. One, because their parents don't want them to, or two, they're not comfortable with it.
Right.
And there is a lot more of that even in, I would have to say, the pressure washing industry. A lot of them don't want to go
Mm.
inside. They don't want to be liable. It's not that they're fearful of it. They just don't want to be liable for anything broken. But we've definitely seen it. And so, like, getting into what I was talking about with how, like, the screens, taking them out, that's the biggest question. I only do outside only. How do I take out the screens? Some screens only come out from the inside, like,
Right.
will not come out from the outside at all. So then all of a sudden you're asking the customer to take out the screens. I've always been a proponent of, I want to take the screens out. I want to clean the screens. I want to put the screens back because
Mm.
I don't want the customer to be involved in the process. This should be an experience for them. So yeah, I would have to say that the fad of window cleaning never really hit as far as it taking away work, but I've definitely seen in talking to a lot of window cleaners that outside only is the main thing they're asking for. They want to do exterior services only. If you're in a state where soft washing is popular, pressure washing is popular, they just want to do exterior cleaning.
Right. Right. So you said something I was going to touch on too, because for the business side, so we do have a lot of people who aren't in window cleaning. Naturally, we're going to talk about it because we both do it.
Yeah.
But you were talking about being paid on commission instead of hourly. What was that? Can you walk through that? Because I know there's a lot of people who are interested, but it never really made sense.
Yep. So when I was at Fish, and Fish is known for this, so it's nothing new. They paid 30% commission, and that was 30% commission on the jobs that you did. And so let's say you can do the math on that, or hourly. I preferred hourly when I moved to hourly, just due to that I could slow down a little bit, make sure my work was good, feel good about the amount that I was making. The commission also, though, does a very weird thing in business, though. So the reason why companies do commission is that it's a whole entire different tax format for the way that you have to reimburse employees, let's say for gas. If a person's under commission, one, they can make you use your own vehicle. Two, the gas, technically you have to pay for it as the employee. They're not going to pay you for the gas unless, you're using their vehicle. And all that does is you're not getting paid back for that gas. It's just the same thing as if you were decided to, count your mileage for a year and then you get that tax credit of like 52 cents for every mile. You're just getting that amount of money untaxed. So it really didn't work out very well. Of course, there were those days that you would go out and you're like, oh, wow, I made, at those days, $120 before noon. Like that really was like what it was. But then it made it where you never wanted to be at the job with somebody else because now you were splitting that commission. So you were really always trying to work pretty hard on your own to make sure that you made out very, very well. So I'm not a big fan of commission at that scale. Now, if it was more of a subcontractor and you're splitting it, and typically what I see for that is like a 60-40, 70-30 split, 70 for the worker or 60 for the worker, then 30 or 40 for the company that got it. I think that's okay as a window cleaner, but I would just never, ever really say that, I would never do the 30% commission. If I'm going to hire a bunch of window cleaners, probably this, day and age, probably going to be close to like $20 an hour, like starting out. And so I always really enjoyed hourly. And I made more hourly with the same amount of work and didn't mind working, 8 to 10 hours days. So if I touched on everything that you're kind of thinking about, that would be kind of my like general overview of kind of the difference in between the two and how I enjoyed it. Of course, hourly, you got a lot more stuff that comes along with it, right? As far as, making sure you have workman's comp. I'm not even sure, to be quite honest with commission, if they have to have workman's comp. I would think so. But I just know that, one thing about commission is that when you go out to the job, the company knows exactly what they're going to make. You don't know what you're going to make. So it does create kind of this weird environment as well, especially in something like window cleaning. When you're talking about selling cars and you're talking about a commission, that's a lot more like, I want to go for that. And that's how I kind of viewed it, was just, it never made me feel great about it at the amount that they were bidding at. It wasn't something that I could have ever made into an actual career.
Yeah, I think that's the problem too, is because if your estimate's off, then the whole thing, nobody's making money. Yeah,
Yep.
and that
Yep.
makes it really difficult. On the flip side, being paying hourly, and then sometimes people are kind of like, well, I'm just going to go real slow because I'm getting paid by the hour, so there's both sides, I guess. Somebody's going to lose, but it is what it
Yes.
is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, we definitely had people that milked the clock. And so what we did partially was we always did like a 2-week kind of period, trial period.
Right.
And during those 2 weeks, I feel like you can pretty much know in a week if someone's going to work hard for window cleaner or not.
Right.
And if we saw that someone wasn't going to work out in that amount of time, and we did pay them a little bit less, like the hourly, we would let them know and we would let them go.
Right.
So that was a big thing that we really did. And we tried to, even for like hiring, if we saw somebody at a local fast food restaurant and we would say, that person may be a good window cleaner, at that point in time, we could offer a more good hourly rate than what they were going to get. We would give them our card and say, hey, if you're ever interested in doing this, give us a call. Just because we see that you're a hard worker. And that was a big thing. But, these days it's so hard to find good workers that want to work at an hourly wage or anything like that.
Right. Well, and then like for you guys in your area, I mean, you guys can charge more or make more, but your minimum wage is different than people down in the plains or on the coast. So there's so many things where it's like you can't live on $15 an hour in California. You can't, but you can in Kansas, So it's like one of those things where you just got to figure it out. And that's probably one of the most frustrating things, is looking at other people going, well, the window cleaners over there are making 25. Well, yeah, they're also charging way more than what we are. So,
right. Yep.
Or they show up on time. Come on.
Yeah. That's what all the window cleaners in the UK say to us, especially like through YouTube and stuff, is like when at a certain time, I was kind of sharing a little bit of some of the totals we would get for certain jobs. And, UK, they're doing, route work on homes, and they're doing it for a lot less.
Mm,
I don't know the conversion
right.
currency wise, but I always have heard from them like the amount of money that we can make over here is so little compared to what is made in the U.S. So it
Yeah,
definitely varies by
it's a
area.
weird culture thing.
Yeah,
It's weird for sure because we have a branch in Tulsa too, and even Tulsa and Springfield are two different. They're so different in how you have
really.
to approach them. It's weird. So I don't
Wow.
know if it's just a city thing or if it's I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting for sure.
definitely.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thank you.
I feel like we kind of ran a million miles an hour, which I love. I like just talking, so I think it's
Yeah,
great. Um, but maybe we could do it again sometime and really get into nitty gritty type stuff and help some window cleaners out in
yeah,
particular. So,
definitely.
anything you want to promote or throw out there? I know I've got your phone number here for window cleaning if anybody needs to order stuff from WCR. But or how about this before we go? Is there any third party app or like I know you use Jobber,
Oh yeah.
anything like that that you want to throw out to help window cleaners in particular with starting their business?
Yeah, if you want to get a good CRM, which is a customer relationship management system, I have been an ambassador for Jobber since 2019. I truly, truly think it is one of the top apps out there to really organize your customers, organize your schedule. You can have employees check in and out on it as far as their time clock, and they're always, always updating their software as far as integrating with other companies. I've really, really felt like they've been one of the best out there. I would always encourage, doing trials with whatever one that's out there that you're, thinking of. A lot of them have 30-day trials, but I would definitely say that, one of the people I'm associated with is Jobber, and they're a great CRM for your company if you're starting out. And it's really, really good to get that organized from the beginning, because all of a sudden you're finding, oh my gosh, I have this whole notepad full of customers. I have no place to organize it. And it's organizing your quotes. It's you can send them the quote nowadays, carbon copies are done. You can send them the quote. They can approve it through text message or email. There's just tons of things with it. And I totally sound like a salesperson saying all this stuff, but it is a very good app. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, no, I that's one thing I was going to ask about too. I know when I started out, I felt like I didn't want to spend the money on stuff like Jobber because I did start out with Jobber and then I moved because I thought House Call could do something a little bit better in the automation side. Turns out that it was pretty similar. So,
Yeah.
but I'm too big to move now, so it was like, oh man. But I did.
Right.
I love Jobber. Jobber was fantastic. I used
Yeah.
them for about 2 years. But it took me a long time to buy in because $40 a month. Are you kidding me? Like I can't spend that. I would put my tools down on the bucket because a
Right.
bucket on a belt's $50.
Right.
Which sounds so bizarre now.
Yep.
But what would you say to somebody who needs equipment from WCR or needs to buy a subscription from Jobber or something like that? What would you say to somebody to bite that bullet?
Man, so you think about like a $40 subscription to a CRM. Technically, that's what you can make in a half an hour window cleaning, especially when you start to get going. The amount of money that you may spend on a traditional kit may be $300 to $500 for the common traditional tools. Once again, once you get going, that could be one residential job. So if you think about it in that manner, it's really not that big. Window cleaning has the smallest overhead of really any type of service businesses out there. Once you make that initial purchase of either whether you decide that you have the capital to invest in a water fed pole system at the same time that you get traditional equipment in your ladders, depending on your area, this may sound like a big amount to somebody, especially starting out, but 3 to 4 grand, you're going to be able to get all that stuff. You're going to be able to shorten the learning curve and be able to take on bigger jobs even quicker. You definitely don't need to spend that money, that amount of money starting out. But I definitely think that planning on a budget of around, $500 for equipment and then basically being able to get that CRM, maybe get QuickBooks or something like that can really, really help. And I would say that even something like QuickBooks can be a great place to start because the nice thing about QuickBooks, they may not have a calendar, but QuickBooks can integrate with almost every software that's out there. And also, QuickBooks is great for when you do your taxes, for a CPA, all that stuff can be super, super good. But I would really, really suggest fully diving into it if you really want to do it. And that kind of brings us back to like what we talked about earlier, in that I think that's the biggest thing that people don't do is they don't fully fully embrace it and fully engulf themselves in it. Like if you're going to do it, do it. Don't hold back on the little things. And, make free use of free social media. That is something that is like right at everyone's fingertips now. And it's not to get followers, it's not to get likes, it's to geotag where you're working so that people in that area can see you more. I feel like that's something that a lot of good companies do, but also a lot of people miss out on, is just using all the free stuff out there that you can literally backlink your website to and all that stuff. So I know I always just kind of go off, but
No, that's awesome. That's stuff that's so practical and so needed. But I remember I bought the squeegee from Home Depot, and I was like, "Wow, it's a squeegee's a squeegee. What's it matter?" I
yeah,
had no idea because I think I bought an Unger Ninja, and it was like changed my life.
yeah,
And even that made me that much faster, which made me that much more money. So invest in your business, and it's totally worth it for sure,
yeah.
for sure.
Definitely investing in quality, not only equipment but quality software, quality marketing is going to be important for your growth.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, are you a coffee drinker?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll send you some coffee from our sponsor, Kaffa Bunn.
Ooh. Oh
Yeah,
man.
they're
Awesome.
really good. They're awesome. So I'm gonna throw it up here, cover our face real quick,
Oh,
but
that's cool.
I'll send you some of their stuff. It's really good. I'll send you a link to it so you can kind of pick what you want because they have a bunch of
Awesome.
flavors.
Perfect.
But
I appreciate it.
yeah, if you guys are wanting some coffee, check them out at kaffabunroastery.com. Use that code on YouTube on the bottom of the screen, BIZA2, the number 2 EZ. And that'll get you 30% off or free shipping on anything over $30. So check them out. They're awesome. I'll send it to you if you just send me an address to send it to. I'll
Oh
send some
man.
your way. I appreciate you being
Thank
on the
you.
show.
Yes. No, thank you very much. It was a great time. And yeah, I appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Well, we will see y'all on the next episode. All right. Thanks. Bye.